Good afternoon, and welcome back to another episode of Real Talks. I'm your host, David Steele, and this is a little impromptu episode, but I wanted to come on and talk to everybody about the new trailer that dropped for the HBO Max series, The Last of Us. Now, this is a huge game that came out a couple years ago, and I'll get into that in a minute. So let's start with a little bit of background here. So in 2015, I believe, the developer Naughty Dog developed a incredible game. It was called The Last of Us, and this was about a young girl in Ellie that basically it was based in a post-apocalyptic time, and she was immune. And Joel, who was our main protagonist, played by Pedro Pascal in the upcoming series, has the main protagonist as well, and they have to go across the country from Boston, I believe it is, all the way to Salt Lake City to develop a cure. So here's what we have here. It's basically like The Walking Dead. There are something called the infected. So if you're bit by one of these zombies, you become a zombie. And in the beginning of the game, Joel loses her daughter. And so what ends up happening is that Ellie is now somebody that he becomes emotionally attached to as the game goes further and further into it, and she starts to grow up before his eyes. And it just it's not as emotional as the second one, for sure, but this is a fantastic game. Um, it has all of the elements that you would be looking for in a good video game. You have the gameplay itself, you have, the monsters, you have the difficulty. So getting back to the series, what HBO has done, and Drunkman was an EP on this, executive producer. He basically had them adapt the video game to live action. And it's one of those things where anybody who's a movie fan knows that video game movies don't do well. And so I I can't get over the amount of this works in a number of different ways. Let me quickly explain why. Number one, The Walking Dead just ended, right? So that means that everybody who's watching The Walking Dead wants something that's gonna fill their taste buds, so to speak, to quench your thirst. So this is a perfect way to actually do that. Number two, if you have no idea what the video game is about, and there are some that aren't too familiar with it, and they're going in totally cold, they're going to love this. On the flip side of the coin, if you are somebody that's played the video game, you know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly all of the different adventures that Ellie and Joel go on. I can't say how excited I am for this. This is this is something that it looks incredible. They've taken lines right out of the video game and put it into the dialogue. They've taken props, whether it's the tractor trailer that, in one of the first trailers that you see that says run, comes right out of the game. Their details, the authenticity here is big. When you get two major actors like a Pedro Pascal and a Bella Ramsey, who actually was in Game of Thrones, so she knows what it's like to be on a big stage. This is huge. Um, I played both. I beat both games. I love both games. Um, this is an unbelievable adaptation. This and this isn't a movie, so which is good. It's going to be 10 episodes, starting actually 6 weeks from tomorrow. So that's pretty impressive. The other thing it's going to be interesting. So if you have played the game and you know of the game, you know that it's quite long. It's about, if you start, just do the main story, it's about 15 hours. Now, each one of the episodes from the upcoming series is going to be an hour. So it's going to be about an hour and 20 minutes of gameplay. It's the way I look at it, at least. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see where they stop every single episode. For example, they do go through a few certain cities. I think they go through Boston and they go through Philadelphia. Um, I know the hospital they're trying to go to is in Salt Lake City. So each one of those is probably going to be a whole episode in itself. Then you have all of the other things that happen along the way. It's going to be interesting to see how they manage that. What little details they take out, and what they so how much of the source material. It looks like a lot of the source material is going to be left in, which is going to lead to authenticity, which means it's going to be uh, a better show. Now, there is another interesting thing here. I've played it. I loved it. It won Game of the Year a couple years ago. One of the most divisive and unbelievable games ever put out by Naughty Dog was The Last of Us 2. Anybody that knows the game or has played the game knows what I'm talking about in the first 15 minutes of the game. Um, are they going to greenlight a season 2? And if they do, are they going to bring everybody back? I I hope so. I really do. I hope that, if this is as good, and look, let me be crystal clear about something. We have all watched trailers, and the movies have been absolute bombs. Okay? On the flip side, you've seen trailers that are horrible, and you come out of that movie saying, that was amazing. I think this is one of those where it looks amazing, and it is going to be amazing. Um, so, I think that if they do a second season, it has to be The Last of Us 2. Um, and if it's as good as the first season is anticipated to be, this is going to be unbelievable. Um, they just had and HBO right now is kind of looking for something. They just had House of the Dragon in a couple months ago, which was a huge draw for them. They just canceled Westworld like 3 or 4 months ago, probably a little longer than that. So they're looking for something to actually get back on the network. Not on the network, but on their streaming service. This is going to get them a lot of subscribers. Um, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that this is going to be a hit for HBO? Do you think that this is going to be a bomb? Are you interested in it because of The Walking Dead? If so, did you play the games? Did you beat the first game? Did you beat the second game? What parts did you like about the first game? Do you want it to be authentic? Do you mind if they deviate from the source material a little bit? Don't forget to leave us your thoughts down in the comment, and we'll get back to everybody. So, yeah, so that's it. Um, Lastly, don't forget to like and subscribe. And you know what? We've got a lot of great stuff coming up next year. It's going to be a huge 2023. We're starting our Perfect Movies series. The first movie we're going to be doing is The Silence of the Lambs. That is going to be in honor of the 30th anniversary of that film running the table at the Oscars. It is the last film to win the Big Five, what is known as, well, Best Picture, Best Actor in Anthony Hopkins. Best Actress is Jodie Foster, which was her second. Ted Talley won for Best Screenplay, and Jonathan Demme won for Best Director. So that will be the first film we do. And then we've got a ton of other great movies coming out that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing The Social Network. We're going to be doing The Dark Knight. We're going to be doing Skyfall. We're going to be doing all these great, great movies. Not to mention, you guys are going to be getting the roundup every week, so don't worry about that. You guys are still going to be getting that, and we're going to have some guests on here and there to mix things up. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes in 2023. Like and subscribe. I can't repeat that enough, guys, because that's the only way this stuff gets out to everybody. And I want to have as many eyeballs on this as possible. So, I'm David Steele, and thank you very much for watching. And this has been Real Talks.